episode of Life with Brian. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day out there. I'm in my 2002 Pontiac Firebird WS6, and I have currently a check engine light on, as you see. But I wanted to shoot a quick video and basically kind of explain why I think you should never buy a modified car. So, out of all the cars that I bought, I can probably count on maybe two fingers the number of vehicles that were not 100% stock, and usually the modifications were cosmetic, tint or on my S2K, for example, the steering wheel had a leather wrap that was stitched on, that sort of deal. I really kind of steer clear of any cars that have any sort of engine or even exhaust modifications done, because again, you just don't really know the quality of the work done. And a lot of times when people modify their cars and they sell it, they won't obviously do a complete strip. They'll leave certain things on, and then that can lead to issues down the road. And specifically in my WS6 right now, an issue I've had basically within the first week of ownership is this recurrent check engine light that keeps popping up. Haven't been able to get that to clear, and just really taking it into a couple of different shops. I'm reading the OBD readings, O2 sensor, left side, right side. I've had the injectors cleaned. I've had a leak test done on the exhaust. I mean, just all sorts of stuff. Just really about for a month straight, just having the car in and out, trying to figure out why this check engine light will go away. And long story short, the car does have a modified exhaust, and because of that, there is a leak that I need to take to a welding shop to kind of have fixed in order to finally have this this check engine light, this recurring annoying check engine light go away. But again, back to my point, this is the reason why, guys, whenever I buy a car, usually the first question I'll ask, because a lot of times these cars are not, they're out of state, I'm not able to physically look at them, is I'll ask the dealer, is the car 100% stock? On my recent purchase, which I'll reveal shortly on the channel, that was very super important to me, that the car remained stock, because historically, if you get that type of car modified, it's basically just the death knell for you, right? But yeah, with this car, it's just, honestly, I can't think of any other car that I've ever purchased that had a modified exhaust. And I knew that going in, guys. It wasn't that the dealer duped me or anything. The dealer, other than this issue, the transaction was fine. I'm not saying they were shady or anything. Everything else has gone fine. And again, I knew that the exhaust was modified, but I've just kind of had a headache and trying to get the car clear, and the inspection part of it, and yeah, I really think this is actually the first and the only car I've ever gotten a modified exhaust on, and I will never do that again. Because unless the car is in state, meaning that when you get the car, they take care of the inspection, they take care of the registration and plate, so at least it'll pass inspection. I'm certainly never going to buy an out-of-state car again that has a modified, really anything, but specifically an exhaust, because again, this has just been a headache for me to kind of figure out. And then actually, I didn't do anything. I took it to JT Automotive here in Houston, which I highly recommend, guys. They work on mostly, they don't really work on exotics, but they do work on Porsches. They work on Subarus, they work on GM cars, they work on basically everything except for like Italian and British exotics. They do a fantastic job. Prices are super, super fair and reasonable. But yeah, they spent a lot of hours. The owner even took my car and drove it to his house like 6 or 7 times to try to, to clear the check engine light, to run a cycle or whatever you call it, to clear the codes, but he couldn't do it. And yeah, it's just, that's why I always buy my car stock. In addition to obviously the potential headache of these type of issues coming up in gremlins that just won't go away. I find that, or I'm sure you guys know as well, when you're buying a second-hand car, I think for the most part, people feel more comfortable buying a stock car for reliability purposes and also for resale. A lot of times modifying your car will tank the resale value, even though sometimes there's kind of this upside down idea or perception that the more mods you put in, the more valuable your car is. But in my humble opinion, I think it just makes the car more valuable to you, but not necessarily the next guy. They don't want your headers, your intake, or whatever your cosmetic additions you make to the car. That's something that's very personal. So from a resale standpoint, I think actually adding a lot of modifications hurts you, and reliability, at least again from my experience, guys, I really steer clear of modifications. And the one time I didn't, it's kind of bitten me in the butt. But it's funny because obviously I'm a car addict, so I spend a lot of time on Auto Trader and Cars.com and Auto Tempest and that sort of deal. And a lot of times I'll look at cars that I'm not even interested in buying, but for example, like I'll look at Supras, like a Mark IV Supra, which I already have, or so again an R34 GTR the other day, and without actually even looking at photos, if you look at the price a lot of times on these cars, you can tell what's been modified, right? Because you see a Mark IV Supra, let's say a 96 or a 95, whatever, and it's like $150,000, right? So it's a manual, it's bone stock, but you see, let's say a 97 Supra for $92,000, right? That has tons of modifications on it. The engine's probably been tinkered with, obviously the exhaust, all sorts of interior cosmetic bits as well have probably been added and modified. So it definitely has an impact on the price and the resale value, if that's something you guys care about. I'm sure you guys watching the video know this as well, but I just thought I would share kind of my thoughts on personally my reason why I just never really buy a modified car, except for, of course, for this Firebird, because everything else about this car is just pristine. As I'm sure you guys can see, the interior, just everything, it's just a very well kept car. 25,000 miles on it. Again, this is a 2002, so it was very well maintained by the previous owners. Not a one owner car too, that's another thing that makes it pretty impressive. Multiple owners basically took care of the car, but whoever added the custom exhaust, thank you very much. But again, the car, other than the check engine light, it's just been a blast to drive. I find myself driving it a ton because of the back seats. I have the extra room. I take my boys in it a lot. It's kind of the backup to my quadrifoglio when I need to do something utility wise, or I just not looking for a fun car to drive. This is something that's very useful to have, and has pretty good trunks as well, and shifter is nice, drives nice, just get a lot of thumbs up, a lot of attention in this car. So love the car. Just that modified exhaust is really kicking my butt right now. But anywho, just wanted to shoot a quick video on this, guys. Haven't had a lot of content on my Firebird updated recently, so let me know what you guys think about modified cars, modified exhaust, the Firebird, anything, any thoughts and comments in general. Always appreciate those. Hope you guys like the video. Give it a thumbs up, comment below, like, subscribe. Please support the channel. Hope to catch you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.